Hello everyone, today we're going to be comparing 4 USB microphones of very different price points and different performance. These microphones are going to be the Neewer NW7000, the blue Snowball, the Arozzi Colonna, and the Rode into USB. All microphones are going to be placed on a mic stand to try to ensure that it's as fair as possible. Also my PC is in the background, so if you hear that, I can't do anything about it, my PC's been overheating. That said, let's just go ahead and get right into it. And PS, we're going to be using this graph, and hopefully it's going to help us. In fact, the first microphone and the cheapest of the bunch is the one that you've been listening to this whole time. This is the Neewer NW7000, and objectively this microphone is the worst one and is also the cheapest one at only $15. When it comes to the build quality of this microphone, it's perfectly fine and I have zero complaints about it. It's made completely out of metal, the microphone grill has absolutely no give to it, and the microphone itself sounds fine. It doesn't sound terrible, it doesn't sound that great. It's right now about 6 inches away from my mouth, and I'll let you decide when it comes to the sound quality. I'll also do a verdict of my own when the video is done. The microphone has absolutely zero features, and it's the cheapest part about it. The microphone has no gain dial, has no headphone dial. You can't even plug your headphones to this thing. It's also got no drivers, no app support, no nothing. It's so plain and so just plug and play, which for some people is great, and for others like me who like some control, it's a bit of a problem, especially the gain control thing. There's just nothing. To be fair, right off the bat, the preset gain on it is actually quite nice. It's very fair and it's exactly what I like to see, but overall wish it had more, but then again, 15 bucks, I cannot complain. So in terms of build quality, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. In terms of features, 0 out of 10, nothing to be talked about here. For sound quality, I'm gonna go with a 4 out of 10. It's not terrible, but there really isn't that much detail to speak of, and there's also a high self noise because of the microphone, and also I have encountered some grounding issues sometimes, so it's cheap and it's built to be that way, but it's only 15 bucks. That said, moving on to the next microphone. The second microphone on the list is the blue Snowball. This microphone has been used for over 20 years in the digital space, and it's been cheap for 20 years, so it's really popular. The sound quality, as you can see, is slightly boxy. There's not a lot of low end, and the top end is mostly artificial, but it still delivers a very nice amount of detail, and for many projects, if you're a content creator and if you just want to talk to the boys, this microphone can do more than well enough. It's also supported by the fact that it has a very nice build quality. It's made completely out of metal, and it has a built-in filter, which, while not perfect, does a pretty good job. Perfect. So in terms of build quality, it's built really well and there's zero complaints about it, and this thing's probably going to be surviving with you for a very long time. The only concern that you might have with the build quality is the USB port, which of course is the case with all microphones, so it really doesn't count here. When it comes to features on this microphone, it only has one thing, and I'm not sure that every model of this microphone has that. I think this is one of the older ones, that being a gain switch. Now most microphones have gain dials so you can go between quiet and really loud, but this microphone has the slightly more primitive version of that, which is low, medium, and high loudness. This is on the low because if I turn it to medium or high, it immediately starts clipping. Like when I tell you that it's high, it's really high, and the self noise is going to be completely unforgiving. Speaking of the self noise, it's also quite high, which is a bit of a complaint if you want to do quiet recordings. This microphone will not be suitable for ASMR activities, but looking at the kind of viewers I have, I don't think that should be a thing that's worth mentioning or a thing that I need to mention. So overall, build quality 7 out of 10, features 5 out of 10, and also sound quality 5 out of 10. It's fine, it's not great, but it's better than that. Coming up on the third microphone, this is the Arozzi Colonna, which not only has the funniest name, but also has the saddest and also funniest looks of the bunch. I mean, when I put it on a stand, it just looks like I broke its arms and legs. Look at this. This is sad. Oh my god, this is really sad. But this microphone is one of the more interesting ones because I'm assuming it's supposed to be, I'm not going to call it a clone, but Arozzi's offering that's supposed to go head to head with the Blue Yeti. And for that, it does amazing. Not only does it sound really good, and sometimes I like to think better, but it also has a ton of features inside the microphone itself relative to the other microphones. So in terms of sound quality, you can tell it has more bass, it has more detail, and it sounds just, in my opinion, better than the last option, although it does have the same capsule size, and it also has a relatively high self noise, which is just a thing that most of these microphones have. It's not going to be a problem if you're just talking to the boys or whatever, but if you want to record ASMRs, personally, I would not be the biggest fan of these microphones, but I'm also a bit critical about that. So in terms of build quality, in fact, this is unfortunately a bit of a step down from the blue Snowball, but I kind of can understand why, because it's really big. The footprint of this microphone is huge relative to the last two ones. So if this was in fact completely made out of metal, it would weigh a lot, and I mean a lot. So it's mostly plastic, plastic, kind of stinks, but it's still good plastic, and the grill is very well protected, so it's not a problem. In terms of features on this microphone, there's plenty of those. It has a mute button, it has a headphone dial if you decide to plug in your headphones, it has a microphone gain button, and 3 different polar patterns. Build quality, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. It's not as good. Sound quality, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. It's a nice improvement over the last 2 in my opinion. And in terms of features, I'm gonna give this one a really solid 7.5 out of 10. The reason why it's not much higher, even though it has many features, is just simply because does anyone really need those polar patterns? If they had focused more on making one good capsule, that might have been better. But overall, no complaints. This thing's quite nice. Let's move on to the last microphone. Coming in with the last microphone, this is the Rode NT USB. And unfortunately, I don't have a stand for it because I bought it used and it just didn't have one, but I'll have a photo of it somewhere on the screen. I'll also try to hold the microphone with the same distance as I did with the other microphone. So when it comes to the build quality of this microphone, this is superior to all of the other microphones by miles, I would like to say. It's made completely out of metal and it looks professional as heck. There's what I think is a triple mesh layer on front of the microphone. The whole top of the microphone is basically one giant grill, and it creates this open space for the microphone to breathe and for the capsule to be able to give you a more airy full sound. It's also made completely out of metal from all angles and all sides, and it's just built really well, and you can just trust it for years. The only thing this microphone wouldn't be great at is taking in water, which if I have to say this, then we're already too deep. When it comes to the sound quality, this is of course, as you'd expect, at least to me, the most superior sound, although in one way or another the least realistic sound, because this microphone, in attempt to create this detail feeling, also adds in a lot of artificial treble. The S's on this microphone are not very soft. The top end has a ton of details, but they're unfortunately kind of artificial, like I said. The bass on this microphone is quite nice and much fuller than that of some of the other choices, relatively speaking, if you are close to the microphone. But if you keep a longer distance, that bass will be gone due to proximity effect. So overall, the sound quality of this microphone is objectively superior, but you may find yourself liking other microphones more due to the harshness of the top end of this microphone. So if that's the case, I completely understand. In terms of features, this microphone is actually a bit of a downgrade from the Arozzi, and the reason for that is that this microphone does not have a gain dial, which is criminal. For the price point of $170 and from a company like Rode, a microphone that is this professional not having a gain dial is genuinely just criminal. There are 2 dials on the microphone, but guess what? One of them controls how loud the headphones are, and the other controls the mix between computer and microphone playback, which is really nice. That's a great feature, but honestly, just replacing one of those with a gain dial would be much better, or even adding it on the other side. I'm sure they can do that one way or another. So overall, build quality, insane, nuts, built amazing, even better than the Rode NT1s. The grill is just awesome. It looks really professional. I just love how this thing looks, and it performs quite nicely as well. It has plenty of features, and it doesn't disappoint much. You can do plenty of really pro projects with this microphone, no problem. So build quality, 9 out of 10. Sound quality, 8 out of 10. Features, 7 out of 10. Nice, but I wish there was a gain dial. Of course though, it is the most expensive microphone of the bunch. If I forgot to mention the prices, they're going to be right here on the screen. Well then, what do you think? I know people who will just unironically say that the Neewer sounds better than this one, and I don't know if that's true, but generally speaking, there's just so many pros and cons with these that I genuinely can't give you a winner. If I had to, I would tell you that the Arozzi might be my personal option, just because all of these really nice features are things that I need. I would need a mute button, which this microphone doesn't have, surprisingly. It also features a headphone jack, and it's also probably usually found at discounted prices. The MSRP of 120 bucks is rarely stuck to, and you can probably find it for downwards of 80 bucks or so, sometimes, maybe even less. Or you can just get the Blue Yeti. So overall, all of these are nice options, and if you get any of them, I think you'll do well. But what's most important here is also the mic stand. People forget that mic stand plays a huge role, and you should always keep that in mind. A good mic stand keeping the microphone close to you is going to help a lot with the desk sounds. It's going to help a lot with computer sounds and keyboard sounds as well. All that said, that's going to be the end of this video. Please subscribe and like this video if you liked it. It means a lot to me. I'm going to have some links in the description for these microphones and other microphones I do recommend, as well as the equipment used in this video. Please take care of yourself and have a lovely, wonderful day. Goodbye.